Hey friends, happy Thursday, April 7th. It's nice to be with you. I'm Father Bill Hill, one of the parish priests at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. If I could ask for your prayers, today is our Chrism Mass in the Diocese of Cheyenne. So many of the clergy will be gathering in Casper for a day of reflection and prayer, and then for our Chrism Mass tonight. So if you would, pray for our safe travels, I would appreciate that. Pray for our renewal. This is a day of prayer and recollection to root ourselves before we enter into the busyness and the blessedness of Holy Week. So thank you for your prayers. I'll give you a reflection on the daily readings. The readings are linked on the sidebar. Then I invite you to read the readings prayerfully, spend some time with God before you move on to other things in your life. Okay, we have John's Gospel. Jesus, who is in a dispute with the religious authorities about not seeing death, and Abraham living to be his age. What I was struck with was the line about 2/3, 3/4 of the way through. Abraham, your father, rejoiced to see my day. He saw it and was glad. And then we get the dispute about, you've seen Abraham, you're not even 50 years old. How can you say this? And then Jesus using that divine name, I am, ego, eimi, in the Greek. But Abraham, your father, rejoiced to see my day. I don't actually know what he's referring to. My suspicion is that it's not something that it's actually written in the written in the book of Genesis, but instead is a later sort of a tradition of Abraham having not just the promises of God in the covenant, but actually a vision of the coming of the Christ, the Messiah. And so I like this vision language, and then pair it with the first reading. We have there some of the promises of God to Abram, right? So this is the covenant. And the psalm might be a place to pray, right? The Lord remembers his covenant forever. To remember that it's not about us, but that it is about God who is always faithful to the covenant and the promises. And that God is bringing all things into one, and it's not us. But just remember the humble circumstances of Abram and Sarai. I mean, they are a small household of nomads wandering around and kind of skirting around civilized towns. And it's a household, right? Like it's these two and, their servants and a few of their kinsfolk. But it's a small group. And remember, they would have left Ur with very little, and bit by bit, God blesses them. But then God blows their mind with fertility in old age, but then the promises of a large nation. And so to look at the stars and to know that their descendants would be more numerous than the stars of the sky, or to think of the seashore and that their descendants would be more numerous than the sands of the sea. And then a bit of this language from the gospel, right? Visions of the coming of the Christ, the fulfillment of the promises of God. To just take a moment, perhaps, as we kind of stand prayerfully on this cusp of Holy Week, and to dare to dream of God using the abandonment, the isolation, the self-sacrifice, the unconditional love of Jesus the Son to bring all things into perfect union and into love. It is so easy to see the ways that we feel like the covenant is not being fulfilled, the sin and the pain and the violence and the death in this world, but to perhaps root ourselves in the dreams of God's kingdom and the way that God is always faithful to the promises. That's what I'm hearing in these readings today. How about you? What stirs inside of you? Read those readings prayerfully and turn off the screen. Spend some time with God. God bless you, friends.